Today is my day off. Yesterday was actually my last day at my job. I start a new one next week. It's a glorious winter day. Glorious fall day here in New Hampshire. A little windy. I've had a lot of rain the last couple days, inches of it. And today is nice with the wind, a little chill. Wearing a coat finally. See if I can't get a couple of squirrels. We're allowed 6 of them per person per day, I believe it is. I don't usually get that many, so I've never had to really worry about it. But I notice there's a lot of mushrooms growing out here as well right now, so I'll share some of those with you guys. And I don't know, I can't ID most of them, but at least show them to you. Maybe some of you will know what they are. You can appreciate them, that's for sure. Neat colors you don't see in nature out here often, other than mushrooms a lot of the time. Maybe birds. Something crawling up my neck. Inchworm. Alright, we'll go for a walk and see what happens. Today we're in a nice mixed woods. Plenty of deciduous, maples, oaks, hardwoods mixed in with the white pines and the hemlocks. Very standard northern New England forest here. One of my local favorites, I don't know what it is, but these little shiny purple ones. Very neat looking. Very cool color to find out in the wild. Got a few of them out here. The neat purple guys. A nice, fresh growing Indian ghost pipe. Not a mushroom, but still kind of often lumped in with them. A lot of people seem to think they're rare, and they might be in some places. They definitely aren't here. Got no shortage of them. Kind of neat looking. Here we've got a bullet. I just bumped it and it flipped over. See? On the underside, it's got all the spongy looking as pores. You can see, it looks like, you can see where the side of them, where they got eaten out, I've heard it described as a bundle of straws. And that's where the spores come out to make more of these. You'll recognize a bullet from the grocery store or a restaurant. The bullets you might be familiar with from eating grocery stores, commercial varieties, the porcini mushroom. There's a few of them that are edible, a few of them that aren't. I'm not a mushroom expert at all. Do your research. Don't listen to me. But there are bullets you can eat. One of the things to identify a bullet is to see if it stains. You break it in half and see if the flesh of it changes color. I know that blue is a color that some of them will stain, and it means something. I've heard it means not edible. I've heard it means edible. Again, do your own research. Mushrooms aren't something to mess with, but they're fun. I'll show you what I mean by staining. I'll cut the mushroom right in half. And then look at the section you just cut. There's a good view of the tubes of the gills, pores. So this one, I'd almost say it's staining yellow, but I don't think so. That looked like that was there already. That white with the yellow hint to it would actually turn blue. There's no mistaking it in that case. Some of them are quick staining, some of them are slow staining, but that's what you're looking for. Part of identifying mushroom. Other things you'll have to do potentially is spore prints, where you take the mushroom cap, put it on a piece of white paper under a bowl, and see what spores drop out of it. The colors of the spores can tell you things. Looking at them under a microscope could tell you things, but again, this is stuff I don't bother with. So we'll see if we can find some blue staining ones on this hike. All right, guys, this is exciting. This is a mushroom I know fairly well. Certainly not an expert still, but I know what this is. These are reishi. I believe their genus is Ganiform, something along those lines. At any rate, these are edible, often used to make tea. Apparently, some stoner kids on the Appalachian Trail told me Chinese kings used to drink tea made out of reishi because they thought it would make them wiser. Set the shotgun down and take a closer look. These are got some age to them. Not terribly fresh. You've got the pores, kind of, sort of, they're very old, like the bullet, but not quite the same. They've got a nice waxy, deep red color to them. They're gorgeous mushrooms, especially new. Often you'll see them with a color gradiating from the edge to the stalk, the root. They'll be a little more orange sometimes. As they get this dark, they've got some age to them. So I don't think I'll harvest these. They're a little old, but I often do collect them. You'll see reishis, products made from reishis in the health food stores and the food co-ops, pills and coffees and things like that. I just noticed some coral. It's coral fungus. Here we've got the beginnings of what I believe are called coral fungi. And I do believe they're edible. Again, don't take my word for it. If you die, it's absolutely not my fault. You'll see these growing in clumps. Look like a bundle of fingers growing up, kind of like some sort of Disney mermaid castle thing is what they make me think of. Sometimes you'll see similar white ones or cream colored ones, but I like these yellow singles better. Another neat mushroom out here. Mushroom season is in full swing and I love every second of it. Here's another common, at least for New Hampshire, mushroom. This is some variety of Russella. You see them often. Red cap, white stalk, gills. Maybe see those. There you go. Your standard mushroom. Some are edible, some aren't. I don't believe it's easy to identify it down to the species, what kind of Russellas you're dealing with. So I don't mess with them. Just look at them. Standing here at that stump with the reishis again, and I just looked at the ground and noticed there's these three. There's Indian pipes. There's some white ones. Those corals. There's all kinds of mushrooms just within this 10-foot square within this stump. I just wanted to say that sometimes when you're on the mushroom groups or other places online, you hear people complain that you're killing and destroying and wasting and whatever when you pick and cut and step on and kick and throw mushrooms. But in fact, you're actually helping them to reproduce, to spread. These spores that come out of the gills, and all of these have, they're seeds, if you will. It's not the same, but it's the same concept. Close enough for us today. You kick that mushroom, it's like that dandelion, that white puffy dandelion in your yard. You kick it, and off the seeds go, off the spores go to help propagate. But anyway, a lot of diversity out here right now. A lot of really neat mushrooms. We had way more last year because it just never stopped raining, but still, very cool. Here we've got a nice bunch of something. I don't know if these are honeys, something else. I don't believe honeys are edible. I believe they'll actually cause you some problems. But if you know what they are, let me know. Got plenty of them out here. These kind of look like honeys to me. But again, I don't know these things. Look at these bundles all coming, bunching. See that? Reminds me of some of the mushroom ID books I used to read in high school instead of listening to the lectures. So here, mixed in with the partridge berry, we've got some of those white corals I was talking about. I might have the names wrong, but this certainly gets you started. Here we've got a young, fresh reishi. Let this one grow, it's small. We've got this other stub growing as well. These guys on the root system, this maple. I believe this is a sugar maple. We'll talk about how to identify those another time. They're growing here on these roots, along with some other mushrooms. Here's a neat all white one. And just beyond it, we've got a white one to the left behind the stick just coming up. And some of those corals again, pretty mature. And as we look at those guys. And we continue Look at those there coming into the left. And the more I look, there's some, they're everywhere. So there's those corals. One of those purple guys. I'm gonna just walk, show you. These guys, something's been munching on them. There's some sort of bolete. More corals. Some red. Guys, corals everywhere. There's bunches of these. There's an amanita. A lot of these are very poisonous. A lot of these are edible. I don't know what this one is. I knew last year, but I forgot. They're pretty. Your typical toadstool is this, the red cap with the white flecks on it. This is a different variety of that same family. A lot of purple guys out here today. Here's what that amanita looks like opened. With amanitas, it's important to get down here to this part for identifications. All of it matters. Here, here, the gills, the cap, flecks or no flecks. How old is the mushroom, right? New ones look different from older ones. All that comes into play when identifying mushrooms. That's why I don't bother. I don't spend enough time doing it to get good and stick with the couple I know. Morels, chicken of the woods. Sometimes I can identify oysters and hens of the woods, maitakes, but again, we just appreciate around here. All right, folks, this is one of my favorite finds. I love coming across them. So this is one sort of mushroom, a parasitic fungus on it. They're known as lobsters once this happens. They're edible. This bright orange color. They look crusty. If you've ever seen a lobster, you'll kind of get the idea. They're a very neat one. Lobsters. Lobbies. Another little one. I only see them small and on roads like this or trails. I'm not sure what their deal is, but that's where they are around here. Here's a neat set of mushrooms for you. We'll get closer in a second, but that's kind of cool. All those little white guys growing up that stump, dead tree there, as you can see. Kind of looks like corn smut from here, though obviously it's not. We'll go take a peek. Here we are closer. Kind of a neat one. I suspect these are two different sorts here. They have very different growth forms. Unless one is the juvenile, but I suspect not. It's one thing to keep in mind as you're trying to take notes to identify your fungi later. What is it growing on? Alive or dead? Hardwood, softwood. The roots? The ground near the roots? Perhaps up in the canopy? All of these details matter. Not all the time, but often enough. But when you're taking notes in the field, you want to note this stuff down. Keep it in mind. Because when you get back and you get on the mushroom group or get to your field guide that you didn't bring with you, you're going to wish you had that information, and you're not going to remember. Is that a dead pine or a dead oak? Just some thoughts. That's probably going to do it for this walk. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe learned something. I don't know if I was teaching anything, but at least sharing some of the stuff in my head with someone other than my wife for a change. I think she's gotten bored of it. But, yeah, we'll do this again sometime and go outside, go for walks, go for sits, find a stump, find a rock, just sit on it for 10 minutes and listen, look, see what's going on around you. It's relaxing, de-stressing. Stay off of the social media, the one you're watching me on now. take some time outside. It's good for you. All right. I'll see you next time.